Welcome to the third lesson in the pronunciation of the Arabic letters. So this is the third lesson. We will talk about حرف التاء. We already talked about حرف الباء. Now حرف التاء is very similar to ba, but we have two dots on top. In ba we had one dot on bottom. Now we have two dots on top. Okay, so it is pronounced as ta, and it's very similar to the letter T in English. As we learned before, that each letter can have a different sound depending on what's above or under that letter. So we have ta, tu, or ti, depending if there is fatha, dhamma, or kasra under it. And each one of them is called haraka. Okay, so let's see how ta, harf ta, the letter ta can look like if it is depending on its location in the word, whether it's in the beginning of the sentence, in the end, in the middle of the sentence, or in the end but connected to the previous letter, or in the end but not connected to anything. So let's see in the first example where harf ta is in the beginning of the word. We have tamr. Tamr actually means dates. So dates is a very famous fruit in many Arab countries, many Arabic countries. We have teen. Teen means figs. And taj. Taj means a crown. Again, if we remember from the first lesson that harf al-alif here, the second letter in this word, is used as a mad, which means it elongates the sound of the previous letter. So we have taj, taj. We have to elongate the sound to make it different than fatha. Okay? And let's see how ta becomes if it is in the middle of the sentence. You can see how ta is connected to the previous and the letter after it. So we have kitab. We already took kitab. Again, there is a mad here after ta. Kitab. Shita, winter. Winter. And zaytun. Zaytun means olives. Ta at the end of the word but connected to the previous letter. We have zayt, oil, bayt, house, and bint, a girl. Now we have ta at the end of the sentence, at the end of the word, not connected to the previous letter. We have hoot, a whale. Again, ha is different than ha, h in English. Ha, it's coming from the throat. Ha, ha, hoot, not hu, not h. So it is ha, hoot. Toot, berry. And sawt. Sawt is actually any sound, not necessarily to be a human voice. So can be any sound. So how do we know that ta can be separated or connected to the previous letter? If we see any of the letters, of these letters, which we saw in the previous lesson. So any of these letters, dal, dal, ra, zai, alif, whether it is with hamza or without hamza, and waw. If you see any of these letters, which means they don't connect to the letter after them. So the ta has to be separated. Now let's see one more thing about ta. If it is in the end of the word, we can have two different kinds of ta. We have ta maftuha and ta marbuta, which means an open ta or a closed ta. Now even closed ta or ta marbuta has two shapes. If it is connected to the previous letter or if it is separated. So let's see some examples and how we can differentiate them between each others. So bint, a girl, we see the ta مفتوحة here connected to the previous letter. And batta, a duck. We mentioned before that batta can also pronounce as battatun, but we pronounce it as batta because we can stop at ta. If we can stop at ta marbuta, then we have to. It can be pronounced as ha. Okay, we remove the sound or the haraka from batta because it is at the end of the word, or if we are stopping at that word, then we don't put sounds anymore. We put sukun. We make the letter silent. Okay, but ta, the ta marbuta, will be pronounced as ha if we stop at it. So batta. This is different for ta maftuha. If we stop at the word, we cannot pronounce it as ha. We have to pronounce it as ta. So bint, you cannot pronounce it as bin. Okay, so bint. Another example, we have katabat. Katabat actually is a verb, which means she wrote. Okay, so ta maftuha can be used with verbs, while here we have warda. Warda is actually a flower. We can see here that ta here is separated, ta marbuta. And we have kalimat. Kalimat is a plural of the word kalima. Okay, we already took kalima before, so kalimat is the plural of that. If you are seeing a plural, then ta has to be maftuha, an open ta. The last example, tawila. Tawila means tall. Now if we're talking about an adjective for a subject which is feminine, then we have to use ta marbuta. So to sum it up, ta maftuha can only be used with verbs, cannot be pronounced as ta as ha, and it can be used in plural nouns, while ta marbuta can be pronounced as ha if we stop at the word, and it can be used for adjectives. Now I know that's a lot of grammar for one lesson, especially for beginners, but I want you to see that how ta can look like in different positions and different shapes. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and we'll see you in the next lesson, inshallah. Thank you.